Hi, everyone. I am Trooper Gruby. I am a Pennsylvania State Trooper. I am stationed in Chambersburg, which is Franklin County. And my daily job is out on the road. I do traffic, I do crime, I do talks like these. I can do almost anything and everything for my job. Today, here, I'm going to talk to you guys about home and neighborhood safety. I do have a little presentation. It's not too long, but just some things that we all can kind of work on, look out for, and so forth in our daily lives, just to make sure that we're staying safe and or being a great witness if you do notice something. That way, when you call the state police or you call your local jurisdiction, you can give them the proper information. So we'll get into it here. The first slide is going to be safety while you're home alone. Sometimes this happens, you know, you get stuck home alone and it just is what it is. Some things that we can look for your mailbox or when you're sending information in for a phone book, use your first initial rather than your first name. It's just a little bit harder for people who don't need to know you to track you. If you're taking your car to get fixed or anything like that, make sure you're keeping your house key. And that's even if you're going to some place that has valet or something like that. Make sure you're keeping your house key. Only ever give up the key to the car. Keep the stuff that is really important to yourself. Be highly selective as to who you allow into your home. People may come knocking. That doesn't mean let them in. Obviously, know who you're allowing into your home. Keep it to friends and family. Another thing is make sure you see ID if you have someone coming to fix anything in your home, your refrigerator, your laundry, anything like that. A lot of times people will use these job descriptions to get into homes, and that can be really, really dangerous. So make sure you're seeing some ID, especially if someone shows up unannounced and you do not have an appointment with them. Don't announce when you're home alone, whether that be on social media. If someone calls and asks, don't tell them. The only people that should know where you're at are close friends and family. Another is to keep all doors and windows locked. And then when it gets dark out at night, keep your shades or curtains down. You don't want people peering into your home because you might not be able to see them, but they can see inside, especially when it's light inside and dark outside. So those are all things that we can kind of keep in mind while you're home alone. And then, obviously, we like to go out and stuff like that. So there are a few things that we want to keep in mind when we're getting ready to go out. Always look ahead as to where you're going, which path you're going to take. Google Maps does update fairly quickly. There are other apps that you can use that update again fairly quickly. I know Waze is one of them. I can't think of the other one right now, but Google Maps, Waze, those are two really good places that update frequently and let you know which route is going to be the safest for you to go. Let your family know and your friends know where you're going. If there's phone numbers that they maybe should have, so that they can get in contact with you if you don't have your phone. When you're supposed to arrive, as well as when you're supposed to be coming home. It's always good to check in with family and friends throughout the day. That way, if they don't hear from you, or if same thing, if they're going out and you don't hear from them, you can absolutely check up on them and figure out if something's wrong early on. Also, let the person, if you're going to visit someone, let the person that you intend to visit, let them know of when you're supposed to be arriving. That way, if time's going by and you're still not at their home, they can take the appropriate measures to figure out if something's wrong. It's always good to leave a light on inside of your home. You don't have to leave on all the lights. I know electricity can get a little bit expensive. So leave one light on, maybe a hall light, a bathroom, like a small kitchen lamp or something like that. Leave a light on the inside, but also maybe a porch light. Don't make your house completely dark. That also helps if you have cameras. The cameras can't see anything if it's dark outside. So having a light on just gives better visibility for the camera, as well as it lights up the house. Again, leaving all the windows and doors locked. This includes the garage door. Don't be leaving stuff unlocked when you're not going to be there. And I know it's common practice to hide keys outside your home, whether it be under a rock in the garden or under the doormat, but try to avoid doing this because people are looking for that kind of stuff. If you are going to put a key outside, they do make great lock boxes where you need a code to get into it. Those tend to work best just because people don't know the code. So if you're going to have a key outside, keep it locked up, keep it safe, keep it out of sight. But if possible, avoid leaving keys outside. It's also really great to have a small flashlight with you, whether it be like the size of a pen or just something small that you can keep in a purse, in a pocket, something to light up if it's dark outside, something to light up the area. It just makes it a little bit safer when you're getting ready to go out. So once you are out, there's a few things that you want to avoid. That includes walking alone, if possible. I know this isn't always possible. Anytime you don't have to be alone, it's good to not be alone. So try to always be with someone. Don't walk alone. Try to avoid wearing headphones when you're walking outside, or even if you go running, maybe just do one headphone. I know that's an option now with AirPods and stuff. Just use one because you don't want to not be able to hear what's going on around you. People can sneak up on you. Animals can sneak up on you. All sorts of different things. So just try to remember to pay attention to your surroundings. And that's always helpful when you are only wearing one headphone or not wearing headphones at all. Try to avoid dangling purse or other personal items from you. It makes it easier for people to grab. And if you're not paying attention, it's easy to just take. Displaying fine jewelry or valuables. This just kind of lets people know that you have nice things, and not saying that it's bad to have nice things, but you don't want to parade them around too much as you become a more exciting target for certain people. So try to avoid wearing very flashy jewelry or watches or anything like that. Try to avoid the heavily overgrown areas. If there's a lot of shrubs and it's very overgrown, bushes and trees, you don't know what's hiding out or lurking. Basically, it's just good to be in a more open of an area and a well-lit area at that. And a lot of this is just so you can see what's coming in advance. Typically, it's not good if something's scaring you or jumping out at you because you don't have time to react. At least if you're in an open area and a well-lit area, you have a lot better reaction time. Another place or another way to keep safe while you're out and about is avoiding areas that you know a lot more crime occurs in. That could be a neighborhood, that could be a specific street. If you know that it's not the best place to be and you can avoid it, try to avoid it. But those are a few things that it's good to avoid while you're out. Like I said, not all of these are possible, but do the as best as you can, essentially. So then next we have preparing a vehicle. Okay, so these you don't tend to think of very much, but it's good to keep up with this stuff for situations that you don't necessarily think of. These tend to be a little bit scarier situations. less common situations, but still possible. So it's always good to check your gas supply. Make sure all the tubing in your car is good and working and it's not leaking. That way you're not ending up in a random area that you don't know with no gas because it leaked out and you didn't know about it. Always have your motor tuned up and have an adequate battery. You don't want to be in a situation where you're uncomfortable and now you can't start your car. So it's good to check that stuff ahead of time when your mind is in a good spot rather than when you're startled or panicked or trying to get out of a certain area. It's also good to check your air pressure in your tires as well as your tire wear. This is more so for if you're doing long traveling and stuff like that and you have a bald tire, which it happens unfortunately sometimes, but when you have that bald tire, it can pop, it can break, and that can cause crashes. That could leave you stranded. So it's always good to kind of check on these things periodically. Maybe not an everyday kind of thing, but once a week, just check that all out. Make sure it's good and that you're going to be able to get from point A to B safely. Another thing, make sure your doors do lock and make sure the dome light, which all cars should have that, make sure it works properly. I know some dome lights are a lot smaller and they're only like in the front or anything like that, but make sure they work. That way you can lock the doors if necessary. The dome light is also very helpful. God forbid you get pulled over by the police or something like that. It's always good to light up the car inside. And that's just because we don't know what we're walking up to, but also you don't know what's walking up to the car type deal. So it's always good to just make sure you have a light. That way everything is visible. It makes it a lot easier on you. And if you are getting pulled over, it makes it easier on the police officer as well. So next one, a lot of people may actually do this already. I know I do this already. When you're approaching your vehicle, I always have my keys in my hand. And that's one, to unlock it. It's a lot easier. But also there's a panic button on keys typically, especially nowadays, unless if you're driving a fairly old vehicle, most cars have a panic button. And that's good in case if something does happen, you can hit that panic button and that sound will typically scare people off from doing whatever it is that they were planning on doing. As you're approaching your vehicle, make sure you're checking out. I mean, you know what your vehicle looks like. Look for something unusual. Is there something on your windshield? Is there something on your tires? I know people at the grocery store, they always check their cars to make sure they weren't hit while they were in the store. So just add that to as you're checking. Check these other things. Look in the back. Make sure no one got into the car without you knowing. As you're approaching, you can kind of see under the vehicle. That's another place to look. Things you don't necessarily think about every day, but it's good to be aware of that stuff as you're approaching. Once you get in your car, it's good to immediately close the doors and lock them. If you have to sort yourself out once you're in your car, the car is at least locked and you can focus on what you need to do. That way everything's organized in the car so you can drive safely. So that's another thing to kind of keep in mind. So obviously you get in your vehicle and now you got to drive somewhere. So while you're driving, it is safest to leave all the doors locked and rolled up. If you are going to leave your windows rolled down, either do it all the way or just a small crack. And this kind of helps. People don't think about it very much, but when you crash, a window shatters. It's a lot safer if the window is all the way up or if the window is all the way down. That way it's either a clean break or there's the windows down so it won't really break. That keeps you as a driver and your passengers safe. So it's not something you think about too often, but something that you want to keep in mind. Never pick up hitchhikers. That's kind of a little bit more common practice nowadays. You don't know who those people are. You don't know what their history is. So don't be picking up anyone on the side of the road, even if, it's raining and you want to be a good person. you just don't know. So call 911, let them know someone is in distress or is looking for help, and let the police handle that at that point. And the same goes when, if you see, oh boy, hold on. Sorry about that. If you see a car along the side of the road that's disabled, or there appears to be an emergency situation, be very, very cautious about stopping and helping. Calling 911 is the best practice. And again, you just don't know who these people are, why they're stopped. You don't know their history. Just call 911. Let us know what we have, what you see, and let us approach the situation. Another thing while you're driving, be aware of what's around you, the cars, the people. Take notice if people are starting to follow you. 1 turn, 2 turns, okay. It starts to get into maybe they're following 3 or 4 different turns, or if you're switching lanes and they're switching lanes with you, just pay attention to that. And if you do feel like you're being followed, the best thing to do is drive to the nearest police, if you know where that is, or to an open business, or you can call 911, or even just driving to a place that you know is going to have cameras facing out. Banks have a lot of cameras. Businesses typically do. But it's always good to be on camera. If you feel like you're being followed, it kind of, God forbid something happens, it helps us out to help us locate you a lot quicker. Keep all your purses, wallets, anything valuable. Don't keep them in the passenger seat right next to you. Keep them a little bit more hidden. The back seat's a lot better because typically the back is a little bit more tinted. But you don't want to be putting your personal life right there in the passenger seat for everyone to see. So just try to keep stuff out of view. Try to keep your car clean as best you can. So I spoke about how if you see someone disabled, but what if you become disabled? So if you become disabled, and your vehicle is not drivable or anything like that, you can raise the hood of your vehicle, put a white cloth or a handkerchief or something on the antenna, the door handle, out the window, something to let passerbys know that the car is broken down. Call 911 and notify us of the location of the car, or if you need assistance or anything like that. You can also call family members, friends, if they know what they're doing too. Or even you can call for your own tow truck if that's what's needed. But it's good to let us know. That way we don't come up on a vehicle with no one in it and we don't know what it's all about. Always stay in your car, especially if you're on the side of the interstate. Don't be getting in and out of your car. It's just not safe. And again, keep the doors and the windows locked, rolled up, everything. That kind of seems to be repeating, but it's important. Be aware as to who's passing you, or if someone stopped. I know it's easy to just sit on your phone and just wait, but make sure you're paying attention to what's going on around you still, even though you're stuck there and you're stopped. Make sure you know what's going on. If you do leave your vehicle, or if someone comes to pick you up and you have to keep the vehicle there, leave a note on the windshield, inside the car, something that people can read. The best spot I've noticed is in the car, right up on the dashboard, right under the window. That way you can lock up the car afterwards, but people can still see that note and realize, oh, they were broken down. It'll be okay. And then we can kind of go from there. So once you get home safely, okay, we're moving along here. Once you get home safely, there is stuff that you can do, even just walking into your own home, to make sure that you get into the house safely. Before you leave your car, if you have to walk a long distance to your home, have your keys ready. The same thing as if you're approaching the vehicle. Always have the keys ready, just so you can get in quick. You don't want to be standing outside, especially if you're living in not the safest of areas. Sometimes that happens, you know what I mean? So have those keys ready. That way you can unlock the door, get in the house, and be safe. Again, be aware of your surroundings. It's just what we have to do every day. Just always be aware of your surroundings. And if nothing else, you're a very good witness. Sometimes when things happen and we have to come out to a scene, we're looking for witnesses, people that saw something. And if you can see something and remember good details to give to us, it helps us out in the long run. If you're walking up to your house and you find that there's evidence of someone being in your home, leave the area, call the police, let them know. We'll come, we'll clear the house, we'll make sure everything's safe, and then we can allow you in the house to see if anything's missing or anything like that. Same thing goes as if you see someone who's not supposed to be in your neighborhood or a car and it's on your property or near your home. Again, leave the area, call the police. Let us handle it. Don't try to approach it on your own. And the same thing goes as if you see someone in your home, don't approach them. You don't know what they have on them. You can replace things in your home, but you can't replace yourself. So just be wary of all that stuff, and always leave the doors and windows locked, because then at that point you'll be able to notice evidence if someone got in. Rather than you leaving the door unlocked, people can just walk right in. If you keep it locked, there'll be a broken window, there'll be a broken door. You're going to notice it a lot sooner, and it'll keep you a lot safer. So we talked about leaving, coming home, when you're home alone and all that stuff. Just a little topic that I want to hit on is the online activity. We all have social media nowadays, or at least most of us do. It's just kind of the world we live in right now. One thing you want to remember is if you're going on vacation, maybe think twice about posting that vacation while you're on it. Wait till you're home. Wait till the next week and then put it up there. When you put up that you're on vacation and that you're gone, people are seeing that and they see an opportunity for an empty home. And they know that you're not coming back until a certain date. So just be careful when you're posting that kind of stuff. Also be careful about posting your birthday and your address or even banking information online. These are ways that people can steal your identity, and having your identity stolen is a horrible, horrible thing, and they can take everything from you. So just be really, really careful as to what you're posting online, who you're friends with on these websites or social medias or whatever, who you're talking to. Keep it to your friends and family. And friends, I mean people that you've actually hung out with or you've seen in person. I know a lot of times we have Facebook friends or Instagram friends that we don't actually know, but we have a whole bunch of mutual friends. So just be careful of that. You don't necessarily know all these people. So keep it to friends, close friends, and family. Next slide just basically is the same thing. Never give out your personal information, which school you go to, your home address, your phone number. Keep all of that stuff to yourself. The same thing with your password. Don't ever give out your password, your internet information, financial information. Don't give any of that stuff out. These are ways that people can get into your personal lives, your computers, your banks. This is how they can do it, and they're very good at what they do. So keep all that stuff to yourself. Keep it secure. Don't hand it out to anyone. And all of this kind of, in the next slide, it kind of explains for like online purchases. Be careful when you're buying stuff online. And be careful when you're receiving maybe emails or some sort of update about win this, or you've won this, or go to this website to pay for this. Like, just be careful about that kind of stuff, because that's where they kind of get you, and that's where they can get your information. And always read fine print when you're ordering something, or even if you're signing for something, even if it doesn't require a card number or anything like that, just read the fine print, because typically, as the little picture says, if it's too good to be true, it usually is. So just be cautious of all this kind of stuff. And that's basically everything that I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about today. The next slide is just for any questions. Obviously, it gets hard when everything's virtual. You can't really ask questions. I know this says Trooper Michael Myers. He's also a great person to contact, but I'm Trooper Angela Gruby, so you guys can contact me with any questions that you have. You just have to contact the Chambersburg station, which you can just Google that number if you need it, and just ask for Trooper Angela Gruby. Ask any questions. If I don't know the answer, I'll make sure that I get the answer for you. But that's about everything. I appreciate your time today. Have a great rest of your day.